Okay, hey guys, daily update for today being the 6th of October. Yeah, 6th. We talked in quite a lot of depth yesterday about storyboarding and pre-visualization for your movie. We've had a couple of great responses from that, which is cool, but tonight we're going to be talking about something that a few people have pointed out, which is a technique called video storyboarding, which is much more easy to do these days with the advent of cheap video. The principle is basically that you just rock up with a couple of mates and a cheap Sony Handycam, whatever, and shoot a very, very quick and dirty version of your movie, complete with camera dynamics, and with that help of a few friends and a little bit of imagination, you can actually, it's possible these days to make your entire movie very, very cheap before you ever actually make your movie. The advantages are obvious. You can edit it all together, you can find out where you need breathing space in your script, you can find out what scenes you're going to lose before you ever actually have to shoot them and spend all that cash, only to find out that you're not going to use it in the final picture. Terrible idea. In hindsight, maybe we should have done more of that. But we did do a bit of that, which is what we're going to show you now. We've actually just dug out an old video from a hard drive, which is where we rocked up to one of the locations which you might recognise. It's actually the forest scene from the movie. I'm just going to flick the camera around and show you what we're about. I'm going to balance it on here. You will notice
given the game away.
I've given the game away here. You can see my little audience. This is the Stormtrooper, the Scout Trooper, and that's actually 1983 Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi. There is reason to this madness. The great world-famous editor Walter Murch, editor of Apocalypse Now, among other things, suggests that you always have a couple of little cardboard cutout guys to just sit and look up at your monitor if you're editing on a computer, because it gives you a real sense of scale as to what it's going to look like in a cinema. So that's my excuse anyway. I don't know what Tim's excuse, he's got an ATST, but anyways.
It doesn't even belong to me. It's kind of my excuse actually, Dave. It's actually yours as well. You wanted it in the office, which is a pretty watertight excuse as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, so we're just going to run through this a couple of times. I'm going to talk about what we did.
Is it worth talking briefly about, just saying quickly, this is obviously isn't from the film, for those of you who haven't followed so far. This is the rough storyboard, and it is very similar to a scene that we have in the film. And this is the first time we're really going to show anything that's kind of like what you will see in, 3 months' time when we finally crack something.
When we finally get it finished, yeah. Well, if we just do a quick scan through, I mean, you'll see probably from the style of the forest here that this is actually what you've seen before. This is Belliver Forest on Dartmoor, and it's a place we've been messing around for years now. It's one of our favourite spots up on the moor. So we turned up, and as you can see, the costumes are far from the final costumes. We've got Elliot Montello, actually, our makeup artist here, with a bucket hat and a pair of jeans on. The weapons aren't final. We're just trying to get an idea for the feel and style of the camera work. So I'm going to roll through this. And actually, if you were, not that you're going to have the opportunity, but if you were to watch this alongside the final scene, other than the fact that everything's a lot slicker, the camera moves are a lot tighter, the resolution and exposure is obviously a lot better, and so on and so forth, and it's actually got effect, there are a certain number of similarities in terms of the camera dynamics. If you look through this, we've just got about 10 people here in the forest, just running through a couple of gags, just seeing how they work on screen, seeing if the pacing's wrong. See Simon falls over there and lays it down. Shaz's hat is one of the things that was removed for the final movie. You can see there he's throwing a knife at one of the zombies. In the final movie, that's actually replaced with his character has a machete instead of a knife. So there you go. I mean, that was shot on a Canon XL2. It was shot in about 3 hours. Very, very cold, very, very wet and muddy. But it really does start to give you a sense for what your movie is going to feel like when it's all finished. So, useful thing to do, video storyboarding. Not necessarily what we're going to do in the future, but hopefully that'll be
useful tactic, especially if you try to do an action scene like that, because it gives you an idea of the pacing and choreography for the kind of fast-paced shooting sections, of which there are several in our film.
Several, absolutely. So I think that's about all for tonight, and I guess we'll catch you again tomorrow.